Hello and welcome back to my Satisfactory tips video. When we think about mobility, speed and travel in Satisfactory, we immediately think about blade runners and hypercannons, which we all know are the best way to get around. But are they really? Well, yes, but the difference isn't as big as you might think. Hypercannons are static, take some time to set up, and are built mainly for long distance travel. And blade runners are honestly amazing, but what do you do before you unlock them? And how much of a difference do they actually make? To find out, I built this 800-meter test track so we can compare different short distance travel methods. No cannons, no trains, just pure mobility tests. And we're off to the racing part. For the first run, I'm testing simple slide jumping with no equipment and slide jumping with a jetpack, using the Explorer as a benchmark reference. Quick challenge for you all. Pause the video right now and head to the comment section and leave a comment with the order you think these runs will finish in. I'll be checking how many of you guessed it right. The no equipment run starts off slow but ramps up surprisingly well. In fact, that's what pushed me to make this video. When I started my new Let's Play series, I was shocked how insanely effective gearless slide jumping was. But there's a catch. We'll get to that towards the end of the video. The jetpack run finishes first, followed closely by the no equipment run, and then almost at the same time the Explorer. How many of you got that right? And the difference between the fastest and slowest here is only about 1.35 seconds, which really isn't a big deal. These results vary a lot depending on technique. The main takeaway here is you don't need a car to get around. Even without gear, slide jumping is pretty great. Next up, blade runners and blade runners plus jetpack, and we'll be comparing those results with a basic one entrance hypertube. Blade runners give a big speed boost, but here's the theory. Slide jumping actually builds speed when you jump right after starting your slide, and it seems like the faster you jump after initiating the slide, the more speed it builds up. Since blade runners make you jump higher, you get fewer opportunities to build up that speed, so we're checking if the raw move speed bonus makes up for that. Naturally, the hypertube finishes first. It has hyper in its name, so it's gotta be fast. Then the dream mobility combo, that means jetpack plus blade runners, and then the regular blade runners. Comparing these to the previous results, we can confirm the blade runners move speed bonus does overcome the reduced slide jump frequency. And most importantly, controlled jetpack bursts do increase your speed further. The slowest method I tested was the zipline. Almost a full minute, which is double the time of everything else. Sure, you could boost it with belts, but again, I'm not testing inflexible setups here. However, I did include one exception. Running with blade runners on a Mark 6 belt. This is actually the fastest thing I tested. Faster than everything else in the video. I know what I just said like 2 seconds ago, I don't count things that I have to set up before. However, I've chosen to include this because 1. You can use existing belts where they are available, and 2. Even if you do have a bespoke transportation belt, it takes minimal setup and the same belt works great for connecting any 2 points in your factory. So it's kind of flexible. But remember when I said there was a catch? Slide jumping only works on flat or downward slope terrain. That's why I scrapped the original track and rebuilt it with some elevation changes. Now let's see what kind of results we get on this type of track. The prediction here is this. Runs without the jetpack will be much slower uphill, but jetpack runs will be only slightly affected. To save myself a headache, I skipped the no gear run and tested only jetpack only run, jetpack plus blade runners, and blade runners only. Now in this test, notice how I only touch surfaces I can slide on and jetpack over the rest. That is the technique for dealing with elevation. As expected, the blade runner only run falls way behind, while the 2 jetpack runs stay fast. Jetpack plus blade runners takes first place, jetpack only takes second, and as expected, the blade runner only run is last. But the interesting part is comparing these runs to the first track. Jetpack runs were almost identical despite the slopes. Non-jetpack runs slow down dramatically, meaning always bring a jetpack when traveling across rough terrain. So the conclusion here. No huge surprises overall. The dream combo of blade runners plus jetpack is still king, even faster than the Explorer, but with good technique you won't fall too far behind even without gear. The important detail, the difference between the slowest and fastest method here is only about 13%, and that's including the Explorer, but only on flat terrain. When you have to go uphill, that difference changes significantly. But to achieve that, you need to time your jumps perfectly. Messing up a landing stops you cold. You also need to adapt your slide jumping technique to the terrain and avoid running uphill wherever possible. And that is how you stay light on your feet. Thanks for watching and see you next time.